The activity I was working with. There are three activities, three main activities along the course. We were teaching online main the principal projects in our school year. This is one. This is for the, let's say, the fourth period, the final period of the school year in high school. Um, we were working with this GAC, this Global Assessment Certificate. I don't know if some of you are familiar with this. In this case, I am teaching English to my students, and the objective of the course is helping students develop their skills to take IELTS. Yeah, I teach English. As I told you, this is a school here in Mexico. But at the same time, because of this crisis, because of this COVID crisis, we also have to find a way to save time, um, and mix or merge this GAC program together with our normal course of English. This is the normal course of English. Okay. All right. According to the education board we have here in Mexico. And this is the different tasks we had to tackle in this part of the GAC program. As you can see, as I was telling you, there are four main events, assessment events. Yeah, well, this is, let's say, something like continuous evaluation all along the year. But these four, we had to adapt these tasks in such a way that they matched the dates of the periods, and at the same time make them become a relevant part of the student's course. So particularly, I would like to describe this one, right? What is this academic research? This academic research essay is, let me show you, is a research. This is instructions we have to share with students. All this material I'm showing you, we had to work face to face during normal classes. They're at school. Obviously, I had to adapt this to make them work this using this flipped classroom. Fortunately, the GAC supports us in such a way that we had to develop very little in terms of designing the activity. But obviously, I had to adapt to this, so students could work with this from their homes during classes, trying to save time, because I had to merge the IELTS developing skills in my students, so as they would take the IELTS more or less in May, obviously in the previous years. So that was the challenge. Yeah. Okay. In the as you can see here in the research, this research essay, they had to do some research, they have to draft a plan, they have to write a draft, and then they have to come up with a final product. Let me show you. Yeah. The final product would be something like this. Okay. These, take a look at this. These are specific standards they have to meet. Yeah. And the font, punctuation, etc. Okay. Even the reference list. And I had to go step by step with my students, so they would match, they would meet the standards they would give us. Okay. How did I do this? I transferred all these specifications. I gave students specific deadlines. Um, I posted all this material here on their virtual classroom. Yeah, with very specific dates. As you can see, I there has been uh, I posted this the last time I modify. I used this was practically a year ago, and I have been updating it because it works so well that some of my fellow teachers wanted me to share all this process with them. Okay, so I would give a brief explanation during online sessions, uh, asking them what I was expecting from them, everything, how we would start doing the research, um, everything little by little. Yeah. Okay. We had to begin with the plan or some research. Everything is graded. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, it was not just working with any issue they wanted to develop, but the JC gives us a list of different items, different ideas we students would choose from and develop in their essay. Obviously, once we had checked in general the components, the way we were going to mark their work, I started checking this. I took one session, one complete session. I would give my students these questions so they would talk about it in groups of three or in groups of four to make sure they understood which question, which issue um, they would, I don't know, identify more with or was interesting for them. So they would stick up to it and develop, start doing their research. Okay, whether as a brainstorm or just a discussion, we would go, we would spend about 5-10 minutes talking about each of them, and then they would choose next. What is what they would have to do? They would have to carry out some research. Yeah, read some internet information about things they wanted to work to that they thought would be useful for them. And what is what they normally do with this? I would ask them to write. Sorry, to use um, three, four, or more sources. But the big challenge here is that even when the manual is very, very, very meticulous, very thorough, uh, when establishing the standard for a reference, they would normally not pay attention to that, and they would only add the link, and they thought that was it. But we had to go over it again and again. So their final reference list was ready. Obviously, they would have to um, post the reference list first. Yeah, and I would check it again and again and again. I would ask them to compare to the example they had, and then go back and make sure the standard, each detail in the reference list was the what GC asked them to use. Then as uh, the rubrics ask us to, well, ask students to carry out. Um, they would have to elaborate on a plan. Again, I would spend probably 15, 20 minutes working on the plan. Everything is in the manual. They would have to work at home, and they would have to produce. They would this is well like something like the outline they would have to come up with. Again, I give them um, a link to the folder in which they would have to submit. They would have to upload their work. Okay. After that, again, just as I had stated, obviously this took a lot of time. Okay. Then they would have to write their first draft. They would have to upload it. This is the final product. But I, unfortunately, I cannot show you. At that time, we had to find different tools, the digital tools, to help to help us. We found this wonderful. Well, this is wonderful because this Turnitin offered us lots of different things. Obviously, it would help us to check the grammar, so we would have to not exactly save time, but it would direct our attention. I mean, as a teacher, it would lead your attention to specific items in their work. But additionally, I was able. This is the best part. I was able to transfer this, for example, this in the first draft. I was able to transfer this to this scoring matrix that Turnitin has. As I told you, unfortunately, I cannot show you Turnitin because this tool was only available during the past 3 years. Now we no longer have access to it. Probably, I'm sorry, you can get a bit more information on the internet. But I was able to transfer this scoring method to to the scoring system of Turnitin. Yeah, with a draft, and then I would do the same in a more thorough way with a final version. All this, each of these things, I had reviewed with my students again and again and again. This I shared with the students, so they perfectly knew what I was going to mark. Yeah, this is the first draft. This is this final. Well, this first draft they would upload onto Turnitin, and the same for the final version. Okay, so this is how I had to adapt this this task. I had to, well, in the past at the beginning, I had to tackle this in a separate session with my students, little by little. But then I had to use it as an inverted class, as an inverted classroom, right? As a flipped classroom, because even when uh, I went over this with students, obviously they had to do some research. They had to read at home. They had to make sure they were giving me what I had asked students for.